One thing interesting,
Yeah.
Machamp.
Right, right. And what does that take the spot of? I guess that was the spot of Cinderace, if I recall, right? Or maybe we're swapping some other people
It
too.
was the Lucario. It was the
Okay,
Lucario, and then
okay.
the Cinderace is now the Venusaur. So this is going to be really interesting to see moving forward.
That's why I've got you here, Kanashi, among other reasons. But thank you for setting us straight right here. So, ladies and gentlemen, if not obvious, and we're getting this set up for you, of course, on the stream, but TTV is going to be that purple squad right now going up against Volanti there in the orange. And like we said, this is our final. So if you are just now joining us, I would say you're in for a treat. I don't have a crystal ball, but this has to be, it's already interesting to sub out Lucario, whom we see in just basically every single matchup, of a top level play, just about. But Volanti, they've decided to go with the Machamp.
Yeah, and another thing, you see how aggressive both Indie Bear and Zagrug are pushing just to allow Goof to get these levels. But meanwhile, the experience share, they're trying to steal up as much of this farm as they can and absorb it. And that's the reason why you run like a Snorlax. You just kind of, you walk in front of them, you let them absorb all the damage, and then they back out. So it's just really interesting to see what they prioritize in terms of farm and who's going to get what.
Both junglers now have rotated up. We are still, of course, going to wait for that Combi Vespiquen combo here. You notice Dravix just now going for those A-Palms. Sometimes that is a strategy just to kind of wait on those a little bit. We are going to see an attempt, I guess we should say, at the Bees, but Machop, I think, just barely being edged out on that and not able to really participate in much of that as TTV had it. They were on the ball, right?
Yeah, they were pretty much there already, but I feel like this is one thing that, like, I feel like the Machamp is either going to win them the game or it's going to be sandbagging the rest of the team. It's one of those Pokemon where, like, if you get early levels, you just start, like, running at people with submission,
Right.
and you have that level of control. But without that level of farm, without having the levels, it becomes so difficult to just get anything rolling for your team that it's difficult to play into.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point. And we do have a view of the levels, obviously, being spectators in spectator mode, we should say. But the interesting thing about Machop right here is that it is actually on the lower end of Volanti right now in the levels. Obviously, anything can change. We're not saying that that's a precursor to what's happening. Is going to get that evolution to Machoke right now, which we want to see. Easy Inferno right now. Also, just kind of everybody's doing that dance, maybe we should say. Waiting for our objectives, waiting for our wild Pokemon to spawn. And we do now have that 30 seconds before Dreadnought and Rotom the first. Look at that. They were trying to test. Volanti was trying to test TTV for that top Audino. I think they just missed it, though.
Yeah, and so, once again, Hyper Voice coming out from Easy Inferno, just trying to farm up as much of the bees as they can. But yeah, the objectives are about to spawn pretty soon. And you see them, they're just grabbing whatever farm they possibly can at the moment. Whether it's stealing it out from them or pushing forward, it's a lot easier to get things done here. So both of them spawn. You see how TTV is already up at top lane. They grab the Rotom, and that's already threatening the tier 2 or the second goal there. But meanwhile, for Volanti, they kind of have to they have to get into Dreadnought one way or another. And if they don't have the full team there, it's going to be even harder. They're just going to have to camp around their goal and pray that they don't get collapsed on here.
Right. They do seem to kind of lag behind where TTV is always a step ahead, right? So you don't want to be behind when TTV's already, like we said, a step ahead. They're going to get that Dreadnought right there pretty effortlessly, to be honest. And it's as you said, it's like we needed to see more of Volanti to come in and support each other right there. Good coordination. Obviously, that's a decent block, but the character you're taking down right now is a Snorlax if you're Volanti right now, and that's why Zug does what he does. You know, he's edging everybody out. If he loses his life, it's okay. He did have a 30. I'm sure he wanted to drop that, but it was much better to just say, hey, everybody else, here you go, have at that goal, and they pretty much did. I mean, look at this score right now. The combination of that Rotom up top, which, by the way, to comment on that, it's as you mentioned, Orange was lagging behind with it, but they were still farming in that time. And so was the time better spent trying to get that farm and that experience for, as we said, the Machamp? to evolve first off, but to have those levels, or would it have been better to get that Rotom? I do think possibly the Rotom, because you see what devastation has now happened.
Yeah, the one thing that Volanti still has surprisingly going for them is they have this front goal still alive.
Yeah.
The top goals may have been like abused quite a bit. I mean, you had Rotom, you had Goof, or you had Toon and Lutano already up there just breaking the first goal. So like they're grabbing what they can. As you see, the Machamp actually gets a kill there.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is exactly what you need. You need some pressure up at top. Grab what you can, and then try to take the Rotom as well. And if you happen to grab the Rotom, and even apply more pressure to that first goal, you might be able to grab whatever you can. Maybe even go back down to Dreadnought and get that.
And this was so nice from both teams. What you saw right there was Volanti's Snorlax right there actually pulled a heavy slam to escape and ignore terrain to bounce over that on that bottom lane. And what TTV did was they adapted perfectly as they said, well, you know what? We actually have someone else we can pick off just above you. And so it didn't really, of course, save Orange's Eldegoss at that moment, but just wanted to, focus in on those plays. That's what a team that is worth their salt and a really great team at Pokemon Unite is going to do. It's like, okay, it's fine. We had another window open and we took it. And so they did. And so right now the second Dread is going to be on the map as we see anybody's, game relatively. But obviously TTV is playing this out pretty good here overall.
Yeah, they're applying a lot of pressure, and the Fairy Frolic going to be popped out by TTV already. And they're dealing damage in the back too. So
yeah,
Toon going to be able to try to apply a little bit of pressure. Going to be able to grab one. Is to see if he grabs another one. But Lutano already dashing through a lot of them as he's juggling up Master Mavis here. But dropping pretty low. Might be able to get out. Zug is going to be able to drop on top of them. And there is the Unite move coming out from the Machamp, trying to deal some damage. Maybe push him into a wall, but yeah, Toon's just trying to get the Eldegoss. It's literally 1 HP, but it's dropping pretty low here. Dravix trying to sprint at him, going to be able to get that. And he's starting to try to score, but he's going to get brought down by the Hyper Voice. Meanwhile, Easy Inferno still looking for more. Looking at Goof. Goof is just trying to zone him out. Still, nobody's taking Dreadnought.
Yes, this is a cacophony of different plays, if you want to call it that. And look at Zugrug doing exactly what he's supposed to do as that Snorlax, and Lutano going to back him up, of course, with that job. But you zone people out of that. And look, TTV now going to be swarming that Dreadnought, I'm sure, momentarily. I think Goof, was it? Or Sylveon, we keep getting our lines crossed between these two. But Sylveon, essentially on TTV, is now, I think, the one to be able to take that. And I'm pretty sure he can solo that at this stage, too, of course, with that cone attack right here of the Hyper Voice. Got it down to half, of course, now going to be supported by Indy. So it looks like, we're pretty solid on that's going to go to TTV. Orange already maybe realizing that. I'm not sure if they realized early enough or not, but certainly, whether they intended it to or not, I guess is what I'm saying. They are rotating top now.
Yeah, they're saying, you know what, maybe we should go and grab Rotom too. They'll apply a little bit more pressure, but you see how much damage is going out, and Volanti having to pop Fairy Frolic in order to just escape there, chasing them down, using their Hyper Voice as well. Goof is trying to return the favor, but a lot of TTV is just relaxing and chilling in these choke points, just making sure that they have vision and trying to grab whatever they can. So yeah, the whole Volanti squad is getting ready for this battle.
And I think they will need all hands on deck. I mean, we see how this is all transpiring, right? You're often not going to beat Team TTV without just a really arduous, amount of tasks and work at it. But we see, of course, the Unite moves are going down when they should, and that pedal dance, it's just, who is going to edge who out. And right now, Orange actually able to take out 2 members of TTV. This is what you need to do. You got to pick them off one by one because, I mean, they are devastating even as solo members. I mean, look at this. Lutano, knockdown, drag out fight between TV Brian right now, the Venusaur, who is actually going to survive with a Verdant Anger at the last moment. Unfortunately, not really making anything more of that. We see 40s and 50s, though, on both squads, so this could get interesting. It's just, look at how Volanti's being edged out. We only have less than 50 seconds, and they really would need that Zapdos maybe for a good push. A safe push, we should say.
Yeah, they really needed to secure this down. They did get the kills that they wanted at bottom.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised that they didn't rotate to Zapdos immediately after that. They had perfect target focus. They were able to pick off 2 of them, but I guess they just didn't run the numbers and just said, okay, you know what? Maybe we can just win a second fight. Maybe we just deal with that. But Toon already applying a lot of pressure to Easy Inferno. He's not going to be able to get there though. So a lot of these teams are just relaxing, trying to figure out where they want to go with this. The timer is ticking down, but top, you see Indie Bear scoring 100. It's going to be uncontested.
Very nice.
And that's going to be an extra 100 going in the way of TTV. And we'll see if that is the difference.
That certainly makes that a GG of 414 to 177 in TTV's favor. You and to be tied is what I was going to say with TTV. So here we go.
Yeah. This is the backs against the wall kind of deal right now. You have to figure out and adjust. As what we heard is, like, you know, Volanti gave them a run for their money in the last run. So we'll see if they do change up anything. I feel like this is pretty much a mirror match. The only difference is the Cinderace versus the Froakie here and the Greninja. So depending on how well I feel like the jungle plays, it depends on how well they're stale, like essentially how well they play together. It's going to be really interesting.
Yeah.
Another thing that's interesting right now, as we see, we're following Zugrug. He's holding the experience share.
Yeah.
So this is a very different build. I don't know what Indie Bear is holding because we don't have that as an option, but it must be something really good if he's not giving up a certain item in order to get the experience share for the rest of the team.
Right. It's like we said before, you know, I typically don't question TTV because of their track record, you know. So definitely that is very fascinating, though, as he said. And we are opting, of course, for the Lucario right there instead of the Machamp. We didn't see game 2, so not actually positive if that was a change that was made last time as well. Going for the Bees, obviously, at that 850 right now. Definitely a major skirmish for those, you know, definitely testing each other for those on the top lane right here. Going to throw a Meteor Mash to just kind of get Lutano off its tail there. That was Dravix, I believe, on Volanti, the orange Lucario, of course.
And yeah, we're continuing on with the farm, just trying to get whatever we can up and running. So good zoning, good damage. But yeah, I'm very interested in what Zugrug's holding this game.
Right.
Because like standard build is like you're on like Buddy Barrier, you're on Score Shield and Focus Band, so you could just live for a long time. So like, which item did he give up? It's probably the Score Shield, I would assume. But another thing that a lot of people forget is that experience share also gives movement speed. So being able to have even a faster, like slightly faster Snorlax might even be able to help them in terms of positioning up their barrier when they get it. And also just figuring out like allowing for chase and also to get into position for heavy slams.
Right, as far as the experience goes too, just when we think about the buff from That's What XP Share is, you know, that is still when you see Zugrug and Indie Bear hanging around each other so often, that's at least one facet of that, is when one of them changes, if the other one's got it, then at least they are kind of getting that kind of crowd, we could call it crowd XP, you know, in that area around XP Share, whoever's holding that. This is sort of interesting to see right now where we're at, though, with this game, because when you look at the score, you know, it's nothing dramatic, as I like to say, but wow, nice pick off of Greninja right here. And so that's actually going to be breaking that top goal, so very nice for Volanti. You know, this is what they need, is to kind of just put this pressure on and as fast as possible. They want to make that gap for score as wide as possible. You know, every single advantage we can get, we're going to take it.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're trying to go and grab the Rotom right now. With that pull, though, it did notify TTV that they are at least going to try to do it. They do secure it down, so more pressure going towards the way of Volanti right now. They are going to be able to apply that top lane pressure. So you see them putting 4, maybe even bringing 5 down here. But it looks like TTV is going to be able to secure that down, so Zugrug is going to be able to grab that. But the rest of the team is already kind of down here. They're ready to fight, and you know, you may take the Dreadnought, but it might cost you your life.
And this was interesting too, because this is where you often do see it. It usually maybe happens while the Dreadnought's still on the map, but those Unite moves are just, they are flying, they are popping all over the place. The Fairy Frolic kind of to initiate that actually brought down a lot of orange. You know, I don't mean brought them down fully, I just mean took their HP down to a level where they could be picked off, and luckily they were able to resume, heal up some of that and everything. But now, as I was gonna say, it looks like TTV kind of resumed their onslaught, so they were able to correct, you know, push everybody back, score in those points as they needed, and now have taken over the lead.
Yeah, they were able to secure whatever they can and just take away the map space. And, you know, Volanti did that already in top lane, so they may look to even apply more pressure here, as you see the Lucario already chasing Lutano down. But a lot of the team is just kiting, getting ready for this. Indie Bear already in their mouth. But yeah, it's just going to be really interesting to see where does Volanti find their farm, and if they do find any trades moving forward.
I think you do have to appreciate, even though he's now being taken out, Indie Bear kind of showing us a lot of the times to be the murder goss, as I would codename it. But it's, you know, this Eldegoss that can be an offensive force. You know, it's not just relegated, I should say, to healing, but you might be able to make some of these clutch plays as Indie Bear has, and he's been distracting players where needing to be, you know, really pulling out exactly what you would want from an Eldegoss and above and beyond, you know?
Yeah, they're looking to isolate one player and then try to take them out as quickly as they can. That's something that Volanti is doing really well, is just target focusing and figuring out exactly who they need to get down. But looks like Toon is actually going to be able to grab 2 already in the backline. May have overextended a bit. The Blazing Bicycle kick already dealing some damage as well. Trying to look for more, but the Fairy Frolic going to be able to save Goof and trying to keep him alive. Got the speed, using the cone from the Hyper Voice to just either back out or or just maybe deal some chip damage. But, you know, 5 seconds on Hyper Voice is just backing up, just backpedaling. If you're gonna walk into it, you gotta take out the Sylveon as well, and that's exactly what Volanti's gonna do. But at the cost, Toon is gonna be trying to dunk this 50 in on top goal. That's gonna give him the option to go into Rotom as well.
That's going to be some devastation. It was nice plays, though, overall by Keep Running, which is the name of the Cinderace there for Volanti on the Orange Squad. They are going to burst that Dreadnought really fast. It was just interesting how a Blazing Bicycle kick, and we should note, of course, Toon getting control of this Rotom. Didn't need any help, of course. Just as Greninja, you can kind of pick away at that pretty well. But like we said, you know, a Blazing Bicycle, that can come in and just sway. Once you think you have a Cinderace down, it can completely turn the tables.
Yeah, it's not only just the damage that Blazing Bicycle kick does, but if the Cinderace is also holding Buddy Barrier, you can also save yourself from potentially dying in the middle of a fight. So much damage coming out, and now, you know, TTV applying a little bit more pressure. But Volanti still keeping that front goal open, like allowing for them to potentially score in that late game, and that's something that we've seen them do before. Oh, and he finds Indie Bear and cancels out the TP, but I don't know if he's going to do it again or if they're going to try to collapse on it. But right now, you know, we're just kind of waiting until the Zapdos. Once that spawns up, hopefully we'll have a little bit more action.
Lack of a better word, we could just call this the weird part of the match. You know, it's always because you obviously want to just adapt to what's going on, but most of the time what we've seen in this tournament with this high level play, pretty much everybody's had their rights to farming, and they generally accumulate those points. Get ready for that Zapdos. You want to have your everything together, you know, maybe have all hands on deck when you're going up against TTV, but we'll see how Orange decides to handle this as we hear that is the final stretch, ladies and gentlemen.
So yeah, this is going to be really interesting. We see Lutano trying to score up on top, but the Sylveon's already there. It's just a matter of how do they want to start this. So Dr. Ampa has to wait for another heavy slam, but Zogrug's going to start it off, get the barrier, trying to push him into the wall. Is going to sleep to try to create a little bit of space here. And heavy slam is going to cost Zogrug his life, so that's already one down. They're looking for even more. Huge heavy slam coming out for Dr. Ampa, trying to look for Lutano here. The Eldegoss already going to pop as well, trying to keep the rest of the team alive. But yeah, the TTV is currently down at bottom, just trying to prevent any form of push going forward, but Zapdos already down to about a fifth of its HP. It's a big slam coming out for the side of
Yep.
Volanti. They're going to be able to grab that. So now it's just a matter of who can get to the goal and who's going to score. And the
This
sleep
could
coming
be
out. Ooh,
Yeah,
this
that
be
could
big.
be the moment, ladies and gentlemen, because you see this. What a goal right there, 100. There it is. That's 409. We are very close in score right now. Volanti just needs a small push, and they can get that right now. They're still a little bit ahead of TTV. This is what you'll see is that back capping, everything going on. This is just changing right before our eyes, and that's what we want to see. Right now, looks like elimination for Snorlax. Going to go down from Volanti, and it could go either way at this point. Ladies and gentlemen, the last 30 seconds of this crazy close Unite match.
Yeah, they needed that Zapdos. They got the Zapdos. So now it's just a matter of how are they going to play defense. They got 20 seconds left, and they also have to deal with Toon here, having 50. But it's going to be really quick if they can. You see them already starting to try to groove up on top and try to pull away as many people as they can. But they are going to get burst down here.
In that final count, look at that. Yeah, Zug going to actually get a few points in there. So that's just going to eke by. We literally do not know right here. That's 451 to 451. The tie. You don't really want to. They've been eking by better and better each match, right? So they obviously need to adapt where possible, but it is the lineup that might be winning them, the favors that they've gotten so far. So like we said, if you're just now joining us, my friends, it is TTV against Volanti. 2-1. That's 2 wins under TTV's belt right now. Volanti with their backs against the wall, but rising up and pushing back. So again, if you're just now joining us, that's where it stands in the grand finals.
Yeah, so we are getting this match set up, and it's the same rollouts that they had from the last game. So both of these teams are somewhat confident with what they have, what they decided to roll out with. And yeah, it's just a matter of how aggressive are they going to get? How are they going to do? How are they going to do against the rest of this team? And it was literally a tied score. So it was a tied score, but Volanti had that first score in before them. So I feel like if they might try to do the same things. It's just like maybe we try to score earlier. Maybe we try to, maybe we take the Lutano method where we just start dunking points early. And maybe, maybe that 1 or 2 point differential is going to be the difference between a win or a loss here.
And so here's where we await, of course, the Combi Vespiquen combo to first start here on the match, and they just go down as soon as I'm talking about it, as you normally see with high-level play here in Masters and Unite. And so both, I think it was Easy Inferno, this Sylveon right now, luckily going to have the berries right here, but also some of the TTV members, kind of feeling the pain right now, and I think that was Goof as well, the Sylveon. So both of them kind of in that danger, we should say, but kind of able to capitalize and regroup right here. Right now, though, we're obviously seeing this drag-out fight right here, which is going to advantage Volanti, who will score on that top goal.
Yeah, and this is something that they've done in the past couple games. They try to apply pressure to that top goal so that the Rotom opens up for them. And when they have that option, it just applies more pressure once it starts spawning, but usually at the cost of not being able to really have a good foothold when it comes to taking Dreadnought. But I think that's a trait that Volanti definitely likes to have. They're like, we'd rather have map control than worry about just one level of extra experience, because we will get that experience through farming your jungle and farming what you would consider safe farm.
That's right. And so we see the pressure where it needs to go. That is a good point about the top lane, just because now, ever since that Halloween shakeup and the debuff, we'll call it, to Dreadnought, the buff to Rotom, is that it does make it more in play. Creates this interesting meta for us as viewers to watch. And so we are still awaiting here. You can see the little mini-map timers right now for those objective Pokemon. And so about 12 seconds as I'm commentating this, that we will await and see which team will pull out the objectives where they need to right here. It's getting intense.
Yeah, and we're not even camping out here, but it is starting to get really tense up here. As you see, the 29 dunk is going to go up right here. Going to be able to break that first goal, and once again opening up opening up Rotom for that for Volanti this time. But TTV grabbing the Dreadnought. It's literally a replay of what we saw from the last game.
Very nice for Team TTV. Of course, as you said, replay of last game. So right now, Volanti's going to have that Rotom, and they did actually already kind of bust a top goal. So that's where the pressure is, right? It's all on top. And right now, ahead in score, ahead in map control, just not levels yet. Not exactly, at least if you kind of make this team average, we could call it. Look at these Snorlaxes, heavy slam from both of them on the dueling Snorlaxes for that farm. Very interesting.
Yeah, and you saw how quickly Indie Bear actually rotated up for TTV to deal with that and help him out there. So I was surprised, like, Volanti, like, may have not known that, Indie has rotated up there already. So maybe they weren't so, like, they weren't as aggressive.
Yeah, it wasn't as pressing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but for now, they still have control of this bottom lane. They're just getting easy in front of the levels that they need. And hopefully we can see them continue on forward as we see, Lutano having to pop the ultimate in order to get the Buddy Barrier boost there. But it's not going to be enough, as Keep Running is going to tell them exactly what they should do. But yeah, that's what they're trying to do. But for the most part, Volanti having full control of a lot of the map right now. They're applying pressure where they need to. They're getting easy Inferno's levels, and yeah, they're finding picks.
For those who follow TTV, maybe they hear them on streams or something like that. If you're kind of listening to their comms, usually they sound pretty calm. They sound like, even when things are getting rough, they sound pretty calm and collected. This is a moment where I would think to be a little bit more hectic. This is, I'd be shaking my boots a little bit. And we're seeing Volanti right now with that 121 over them. And the Dreadnought is on the map right now. We're about to have the Rotom as well. We're seeing Team TTV at this time. They are applying that pressure to the top lane. But look at that. Just on a switcheroo, the right side team, Volanti, going to grab that shield and experience points that comes with that Dreadnought and maybe drop in this 40 if this Lucario can. And that was so close. It was just barely denied.
Yeah, you constantly see the Hyper Voice coming in and just ticking away just a little bit at a time. Just to apply a little bit of pressure, but they still don't have enough to break it. And I think that is a part of, the tactic that they've constantly ran here, is just to get it to, not to break it, but just to leave it with just a little bit, so that by the time that they get to those final goals, they can't just jump pad to bother it. So they have the right idea here, just trying to apply some more pressure, but at the same time, you see, TTV applying the pressure with the Rotom. Dravix having to deal with that as well right now.
We all, of course, wait with bated breath to see what's going to happen by the final stretch of this match. It is still obviously anybody's game. We are not talking about big point differentials here. And it looks like Sylveon on Sylveon violence there, as Easy Inferno will grab that KO and then try to score. Get disrupted by Zugrug's heavy slam right now. Snorlax's heavy slams going all over the place. And there's that pivotal blazing bicycle kick from Keep Running. Going to try to keep everybody in this game and pick everybody off from the safety of having that wall at least between them. That goal is hanging on by literally one down there for TTV on the bottom.
Yeah, and Volanti kind of understand that. They're saying, you know what, if we're going to be able to have that goal at 1, we can wait. They can wait the 1 minute and then just try to dunk 50 in that bottom one. And that would pretty much be, it is 20, 70, 79 plus 100. So it's having 179 on the first goal. And that's, the most that you can actually get out of something like that. So it's a really smart play by them. We've seen them get punished for it, though. So TTV has seen this before, where they know, hey, they're going to try to score on the bottom goal right before the initial pickoff. But with this shield as well, it should be able to help them out, try to secure this down as quickly as they can.
Right, it looks like they are going to go ahead and initiate that. They actually have the time to wait and say, hey, it was Dr. Ampa, I believe, as the Snorlax, just kind of said, hey, I'm going to wait, actually. I have 40, but, my allies got 50. So let them drop it in. Let the 50 drop it in, because if we're going to break that and we have the time, why not? If you don't have the time to do that and analyze that, it's not worth the extra 10. In this case. If it was, obviously, final stretch, which we've just entered into, you can debate that all day, of course. But Rotom now heading to that top lane against Volanti right now. And it looks like bottom goal also going to break against Volanti. This is where TTV, they did kind of need that push to break these goals and push everything back. Just all the territory and the score, right?
Yeah, it was kind of giving Volanti a taste of their own medicine, but this time they
Yeah.
waited. They waited a little bit longer just to make sure that the double score does go on their way. So they are up by 100 right now, and you see the pressure coming out from Keep Running, trying to zone out whoever they can. So Toon trying to initiate onto Easy Inferno. Keep Running. I've had that happen before too. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
As they try to
Yeah.
continue to deal the damage. But the Eldegoss going to be able to heal them up with the ultimate. We see in the middle of that, Lutano trying to deal some of the damage through. But Keep Running, just trying to get some of the damage going their way. They are going to TP back. So they understand, hey, you know what? They need to apply a lot of damage. They need to re-heal and figure it out. So Zugrug going to go play defense on mid. Say, hey, you know what? You can't go through this mid without having to deal with me. And we'll see if they understand, like, hey, maybe we have enough of a lead to play this defense. They know by the goals right now, but it is going to be a lot to ask for.
And you see this, right? This was just kind of expert walling off right there with the block from Snorlax. Lutano maybe looking to get disrupted, although backed up by Zug, and he actually does. So that was a pivotal stop to those goals. Now they're both just going to try to score until Zug says, hey, I'm going to throw out the block. Snorlax also going to block on it from Volanti. Does not look good if you are orange right now, because we are literally counting down the seconds, and we're, in that grand standing of 2-1 in these grand finals. I don't know that anything can happen, so Gravix just doing a little dance on that goal, ladies and gentlemen. These may be your heroes of the tourney, right? That's going to go to TTV right here in the grand finals with a final score of 505 to 288. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to your winners of Victory Road, the Unite Clash number 3, featuring GG Tour. That's going to be Team TTV.
Yeah, it was a really good effort coming out from both these teams. And, Volanti definitely made them think really hard about this game. And if anything, like it's something that you want to see later down the line too. Like
Yep.
literally tying the game to get the next score, that's gonna be like one of probably the highlight reel uh things to pick out here. But TTV definitely like staying calm and collected, figuring out, okay, they are going to try to do that one last hit thing, trying to dunk that last bit into the end. But yeah, I feel like it was really interesting to see how the teams were picking at each other, trying to figure out, okay, we gotta play this chess game essentially. If we find a pick here, or if we even get them low, we know that they have to re-heal one way or another. So just an overall big mind game coming out, and congratulations to TTV. They played the game really well. And also congratulations to, Volanti for definitely, putting one of the best teams, like making them at least sweat. Like we could smell the sweat through the game. It was one of those, tough matchups.
They definitely gave them a run for their money. And so Kanashi and I are going to wait for a word from our ears. We will talk a little bit more about it until we kind of have a word from HQ about, when we're going to end this and everything. But just to kind of finish that off, that's exactly right. You love to see that from both of these teams. Well deserved. So we might
Yeah.
have a word coming in now. 1 second. All right. So we're getting the word that basically we're on our way out, ladies and gentlemen. So, like we said, I've been Dr. Kendo of the Pokemon Master Kendo YouTube channel. Kanashi, sign them out.
Yep. So thank you everybody for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed the match. Congratulations to TTV and Volanti for giving us an amazing match. Something that a lot of teams are going to be rewinding, watching, figuring out how everybody works, and that's going to be great. Not only for not for us as viewers, but also for the competitive scene overall. I want to thank everybody in chat. Thank you for keeping us entertained even through the middle,